Happy Monday. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. We got a great one for you. We're going to talk about this the beef prices, this announcement. When we left you on Friday, one of the last stories we covered in our mid-expectation segment was this announcement by President Trump that he is going to decrease or eliminate the tariffs for 90 days for, I think now we know, Argentina to import a bunch of beef here in an effort in the next 90 days to get beef prices 25% below market value to try to lower the price of beef. And so we talked about that as, hey, people are hurting. People want to pay less at the grocery store. You hear it. It's an attempt to address the affordability crisis, which is how we covered the show. Well, after we got off of the air, I was texting the guys basically all weekend because cattle association after cattle association, as well as politician, congressmen, senators from these rancher states, these states full of cattlemen, are out there trying to politely disagree with President Trump, saying, hey, this isn't a good decision. So we're going to cover all of that. We even have a very informative segment towards the end, very informative video towards the end of this segment about from two cussing farmers that are going to educate us as to what's actually going on in the cattle markets. We're not experts, but we're going to try to cover it anyway. The Paul Harrell program starts right now.
The Paul Harrell program.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Some of your warm-up made it onto the audio.
Yeah, I know. She stood upon the balcony.
Yes. We try to warm up those.
Inexplicably mimicking his hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
Vocal warm-ups there. Yes.
Oh, you got to do it like Ron Burgundy.
Yes, yeah. Honey, the children! All right.
Lord have mercy.
So welcome to the show, broadcasting from the great state of Arkansas. We're obviously fully caffeinated this morning. I got my co-host Rob Spencer in seat number 2. Rob.
Hey, great to be with you. Your vocal warm-ups I should have done a little bit because I can hear it. I can hear it chunking in my throat here. Anywho, I don't know. Did Trump step in some cow literally, figuratively?
Bovine feces.
Could be. I don't know. It's been interesting to kind of read all of this stuff. It's really split, and there's a lot of interesting takes. Like the party lines are not so much a factor in some of these criticisms. Of course, the left are always going to criticize everything that Donald Trump does. They just seize on that stuff. But
you got people running for re-election, in these cattle states.
Yeah.
And so these politicians are out there being like, yeah, this ain't it,
Sure. I mean, they're going to find him. They're going to see a video of him eating a cheeseburger or something and be like, oh, what a hypocrite. You're just blah, blah, blah. Anything, because they just have no morals. But, looking forward to talking through all this stuff. When we were going through the show, I was like, oh, my gosh, we have a ton to get to over the next 2 hours. A lot of stuff happened over this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Eric Haynes in seat number 3.
Great to be part of the conversation, gentlemen.
You have a
Great
good
to be
weekend? Everything good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay.
Spent some time with the family. I grilled burgers.
All right.
In an ode to
Were you
our
upset about
conversation on Friday about the cost of ground beef?
Were you upset when you purchased the beef?
No, because this is still from our half of beef.
Oh, you bought the whole.
Bought last year, and we're just.
That's what people are saying, actually.
Going through it.
This is a great time.
I think we were like $3-something a pound then.
Yeah. And a lot of families can't do it, but they're saying that this is a great time to go ahead and go meet your local rancher, go source, your own ground beef and that sort of thing to support our farmers. Before we go any further, though, I want to remind everybody that this the Paul Harrell program is powered by the Healing Veterans Project. Go to healingveteransproject.us. Email me, Paul, at healingveteransproject.us. If you are a business or a retail business, or you know of a retail business owner, put us in contact. We want to give their customers the opportunity to donate $1, $5, $10 to get red light therapy to veterans. It's been prescribed by doctors, and yet the VA won't cover it. So check it out. The Healing Veterans Project is a fiscally sponsored organization which means everything's above board. We're not just, taking your money and using it on a bunch of administration fees. At least a minimum of 70% of everything you donate's got to go towards the veterans. HealingVeteransProject.us. Scan the QR code if you want to donate yourself and help us get this life-enhancing, life-saving pain relief to veterans in the form of red light therapy with medical-grade red light therapy panels at their homes. All right, so as I told you yesterday on or I guess on Friday on the show, we kind of ended it with this segment, mid-expectation. So a continuation of the Friday show. Okay, so mid-expectation. So because the midterms are coming up, and affordability is obviously an issue for a lot of people. Obviously, the Democrats are making it one of their key party platforms. All of a sudden, they're going to handle affordability. Of course, we know they'll make it much worse. So President Trump on Friday says, today I concluded a deal to substantially lower the price of ground beef for working American families. As everyone knows, under President Biden, beef prices soared at their fastest rate, and the American beef herd fell to its smallest size in modern history. As we work to rebuild this herd and help our ranchers for the next 90 days, the United States will allow up to 300,000 metric tons. 300,000 tons of product for ground beef to be imported with no out-of-quota tariff. We have a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices. This deal will reduce prices for Americans while giving space for our great American beef herd to grow again. So
how do excuse me, how is that policed? So if you have ground beef, just say ground beef, and we've got this, United States born and bred cattle meat here, this ground beef sitting on the grocery store shelf, and it's $8 a pound, whatever it is. So if it's supposed to be 25% less, this should only be about $6 a pound, correct? How is that going to be policed? Because, what if these meat packers, what if these suppliers just now have just increased their margins here because they just were able to bring in cheaper beef in the first place? Like, how is this policed is what I'm trying to say. It's sold in for 25% cheaper, but maybe I'm thinking of it too simplistically here, but how is this going to, I could just see this where these end up on the shelf for the same price, and the person just made more money.
Well, that's actually what some of these cussing farmers that I teased, that's kind of where they conclude as well, that actually the American cattleman, is going to take the hit, and the people at the top still make. So that's the one of the problems here is, and I don't really think this is disputed by anybody. Maybe somebody is, but you've got these four main meat packers that are at least blamed. At least we've been blaming them. A lot of people have as the reason why, the middleman, if you will, why beef prices are so high. You look at the cost of a cow versus what it ends up on. When it's on the grocery store shelf, it doesn't make any sense. And people are wanting this to be called a monopoly and be treated as such. Antitrust laws to where we can break up this monopoly, right? But then on the other side of things, and that's what these cussing farmers say. Maybe I should just skip right to the cussing farmers here in a minute, because it is they basically say, look, this is a form of rationing, actually, that the price of beef must remain high because right now the herd is so small, and if you get the price too low, we will run out of cows.
Yeah, I get it, but that's the same BS that they spew about gas.
He even covers that. All right, let's just do it.
Oh, here
All
we
right.
go.
I was going to save it till the end, Rob. But
listen, if I'm giving away the lead here at the beginning,
I guess. But you know what? It's it is what it is. All right. So they are called the cussing farmers for a reason. So what I have done here.
Don't worry if you have little kids in the
No,
rooms.
we're good,
okay.
Because I took the editing. I edited this the right way, but we're gonna try to get this to work. So
as you tee this up, do you feel like this is the most objective explanation of the problem?
Not
because
necessarily.
That's what we talk about. Like, well, what is the problem and how do you fix it? Because if you ask a farmer over here, they'll have this answer. If you ask this person over here in a grocery store, they'll tell you this is, the manager of Kroger will say that this is the problem.
Right.
You restaurateurs will say that this is the problem. Like, every time somebody's asking about what's the problem with beef prices, why is it so expensive? It's like, well, who are you listening to explaining what the problem is? And so back to my question, do you feel like that this is the most sensible explanation of really where are we as a country and why we're talking about this problem? And is this
I would say that these two farmers you're about to hear, what you're about to hear them say, they are experts in their own field. They're old guys. They're farmers. That's what they literally are, cattle farmers. And I think there's a healthy level of cynicism and skepticism, but also this is what their opinion is from on the ground doing this every day and what they see. They're the ones that got to make money in order for this to happen.
If you ask somebody in the that owns a pharmaceutical company, why are drugs so expensive? It's like they're going to have a different explanation than a pharmacy benefit manager of an insurance company or whatever that says, well, this is the problem, versus a politician versus some little old lady on Social Security that can't afford the cost of even her generic medications. So that's why I was just asking the question, like, are we going to be able to have an objective conversation about this, or is that even possible at this point?
Well, and Bad Moon in our comments here brought up something as well that I forgot about. And do you remember there was something like how many did you say? Oh, so over 400 manufacturers were burned to the ground during the Biden administration. Do you remember when those factories
fires. There was one out here at Nestle, right here in Northeast Arkansas.
And you're just like, wait a minute. I could believe a few of these every once in a while, but my goodness, this seems like a conspiracy. And then he was ordering some of the cattle to be slaughtered because of, what was it?
Screw tape worm or
it was all these health concerns and stuff. So I don't know. I think we're just got in a massive hole during COVID. To Eric's point, though, but who truly knows the answer to dig us out?
All right, so check this out. This is about a 4-minute clip. Once we start, we cannot stop because I'm operating. You'll have to forgive me. I'm fly by the seat of my pants this morning. I've got an edited audio clip that I'm matching in real time with the video. This is not the way you're supposed to do it, but all right, listen to this.
He said exactly what they're doing.
The man said, all right, beef is went down, wanted to go to high 245, 248, it's down to 222 or something. But hamburger has went up 30% in that time. He said Walmart's and the big distributors are balking. They're not going to pay no more, so they're trying to force the packers to not raise it. Get the beef down, the packers ain't making shit. So the packers are closing plants to force a glut of fat cattle, to force the fat cattle down to the farmer. So that's the only way they know to get her down.
But a lot of people have been saying that it's just simply supply and demand. That there's not
enough.
Exactly. We don't have enough supply.
Bring 2
The only way
Mexico,
that you can keep people from eating everything up is it has to go into rationing mode. Hell, they'd eat it all. They'd kill every cow in the country if you made it cheap enough. Kill every damn cow and eat every damn bit of it up. You'd never see another cow on the planet. The only way you can do it has to be rationed, and the only way you can ration anything is with price. That's exactly the way they do damn oil, anything else. What do you think they do when they decide that oil is got too cheap and we're not paying enough for gasoline? They burn a refinery down and they say, oh, we got a shortage. But it's all man-made. We ain't never had a shortage. We ain't got a damn glut of meat right now. And if they did have a glut of meat, that'd be a whole different story. But we haven't built back. We have barely built back.
Got other meats.
Yeah.
You
eat up all the damn cows, you can just be ready to eat nothing but chicken. Now I can tell you that's what's going to happen. Chicken or pork.
Pork's going down, it's way down.
And people don't mind paying money for beef. I mean, that's like eating, you know what I'm saying? It's like going and getting a shrimp dinner or something like that. Or some of these fancy lobster dinners and stuff like that. That's what the average person, they treat themselves. And that's the only way you can ration it, and that's price doing that. The price is I agree it's too high. But if you don't keep it up there, you drop it down, and they buy this stuff too cheap, they'll eat it all up. But you don't have to worry about it. It ain't going too cheap, because the guys that's running the show, it's not going to get one damn bit cheaper in the store. They're just going to make more profit on their end and take it off on the bottom end. That's exactly the way they work. The farmer's end. They're going to take it off here, but you'll not see it go down in the store. Now, I'm telling you.
Takes a long time.
Because we're still in that damn rationing mode. It has to be. That's the only way you can do it.
So is there a solution?
Yeah. Import.
It's just
What
going to
they're
sit
doing.
here
Import?
and grind on. You don't turn a ocean liner around in 5 minutes. You don't turn the beef business down. When you got all them damn cattle killed out, and
that jelly bean.
it's just like us. We got cows standing around out here that's 14, 15 years old. Should go to Hamburg, but they're still raising calves.
They got a glass.
But I can't keep holding them and making it do it. You've got to replace her with a younger calf. When you go to pulling them heifers out, that puts less on the market too for me.
They said cows have dropped to $1.87. I thought they never got to $1.87 down here.
Let me go get my damn paper that I wrote down.
All right. There's something, first of all, just the aesthetics of that place. I think everybody's got an aunt, uncle, great aunt, grandmother, whatever, that has that exact same house. Somehow that exact same house.
This looks like my grandparents' house in Paragould.
Hell yeah.
I grew up going
sold it
to
All right.
my whole life. And this is the conversations.
This is why I didn't answer your question directly. Like, do I think this is the most objective analysis of what's going on? I don't really know. I just feel like they know what they're talking about, right?
Yes.
Versus,
like I was just talking with Jeremy there in the chat. He's going to have a big segment about this on his show today and explaining a lot of things. But that's the problem is when the wrong people are piping in all the time with their air horn and their microphone, it just gets convoluted and the problem gets and everything and the real answers get stuck in the weeds and you can't get to them. You can't peel the onion right because you're looking at some politician making a claim. You're like, well, why am I going to listen to you? Like, no, I want to listen to, Farmer Jr. right there. I want to hear his opinion first. He's got his own bias, and I respect that because that's his industry, that's his livelihood, that's his living, that's the way he feeds his family. So that's a different kind of bias than you would get from some politician who's getting paid to say what they're supposed to say. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a bias with skin in the game. This guy has skin in the game.
We always look at bias as always being this wrong thing. It's not. It's okay. I want your perspective based on how your lens and how you see the world and how you see the cattle and beef industry plays out because I want that to be part of how I put together how I feel about this situation too.
What's interesting though is that that it's a cattle shortage, but yet cattle farmers are receiving less per pound for their cattle. So is the meat packing industry, they're the ones that are taking it upon themselves to ration us out because they're struggling to get product? Is that what it is? Then if that meat packing industry is flooded with the proper amount of cattle, I don't know if 300 metric tons is going to be able to do it, fill the hole. Excuse me. I don't know if that's going to be able to do it, but at the very least, it should help, and they should be able to say, okay, yeah, we can lower the prices now. But that just goes back to my original point before we started watching this video. I just don't think that they're going to have that restraint. I think that they're going to say, I've got cheaper product here, and I'm going to just sell it at the same price because I'm still in rationing mode. Hey, thank you for this supply, but how long will this last? Or is there another 300 metric tons right behind it? Because once we run out of this, Americans love their beef, folks. Yeah. And so I don't know I don't know what you do unless you're getting that commitment from the meat packing companies that are saying, hey, we're going to give you some supply and we'll make sure that you've got more, but we need you to lower your prices so that these grocery stores can lower their prices. Because I think if the grocery stores are getting them cheaper, they're going to lower their prices.
Yes.
Especially,
Yes, they will.
they want to sell.
The stores will, yeah.
They would rather make the same amount of money and sell more product.
Correct.
Right, which means that they're obviously making more money than to try to sell it for what they're currently making and just make a larger margin.
Yeah, well, you're asking about the the policing aspect of it, and that's, I mean, I think you do have, like in President Trump's statement, he's got an agreement that they're going to do it 25% below what the market is now, and I understand why that makes ranchers upset, but then again, that it's one thing to have the agreement, but then it's also one thing to get to the practical end result. And how many opportunities are there out there for corruption? When you talk about policing,
waiting for better prices too. To the point that was made just a minute ago, that's a very similar conversation to a lot of the grain farmers that I've talked to around here who have grains that are sitting in grain bins and dryers that have been sitting there for almost a year, but they're waiting for better prices and they're waiting for better contracts to get more for that grain, for that rice, for those soybeans. They're waiting, and it's just sitting there. They could have sold it off, a few months ago or at any time, but they're playing the game of waiting for better prices and sort of rolling the dice and gambling on a better opportunity to get a little bit more profit margin, which I understand, I respect that, but like that's part of the game too. Like it's there, the commodity is sitting there, ready to go, but it's sitting in a holding tank, waiting for best prices.
All right, here's some reactions to this.
Combines aren't cheap, and fuel isn't cheap, and fertilizer isn't cheap. I get it.
You got the senator from Montana, Tim Sheehy. Quote, I've advised President Trump against this course of action for a year because American ranchers have been struggling against the Packer monopoly for decades, and this will further harm them, most of whom are MAGA Republicans. The president's heart is in the right place on wanting to lower prices for the American people, and beef prices have been impacted by the Mexican screw worm. That's what it is. I kept calling it the screw tape worm.
When you said that,
your affectionate
it's like
uncle,
screw tape letters.
But the reality is this action will make it more difficult for American ranchers to rebuild our herd. I mean, so many. Look at this. We've got Amanda Radicke, a ranch mom. She says it's very difficult to read this morning. People are frustrated. She says, I will be with the administration next week to ask more questions directly. Tommy Lahren of Fox News is up. She was kind of parodying a lot of this. I'm trying to get to the politicians. David Giglio. Who is he? Hang on one second. Okay. We got farm action. So, cattle accounts, farm accounts, they're speaking out against this. Let me see here. Representative Mike Flood. This guy's from Nebraska, a congressman from Nebraska. It's interesting. You kind of, a lot of these tweets sound the same. I share the administration's goal of lowering grocery prices, but that should not come at the expense of our ranchers and producers. Senator Deb Fisher, she's from Nebraska as well. I'm extremely disappointed in this decision. Then we have Representative Adrian Smith, again, Nebraska. Despite low record herd sizes, Nebraska's ranchers continue to produce high-quality beef for consumers around the world. As President Trump works to lower costs from consumers, we must ensure those efforts do not undermine ranchers' ability to rebuild their herds.
Hey, Paul, just a second. The boss Jeremy's in the chat here, and he's going to be talking about it apparently on his
that's what Eric was saying.
Yeah, on his show today, he's going to be talking about it. So that's great. He said, cattle and refinery shortages are the real issues there, and of course those refinery shortages we saw with the destruction of so many, and then of course the cattle, because they're all saying, hey, that just like that guy saying, I've got a 15-year-old cow here that should have been sent to slaughter a long time ago, but I can't replace her. And so, but I guess just through my simplistic way of thinking, right? And I'm in the real estate market, so I am industry, so I am supply and demand, right? And if there is a bigger supply, the prices typically go down or they stay the same. If there is no supply, then and the demand is still there, right? Then the prices are going to go up. That's just simple economics.
Correct.
So I guess from my perspective, Jeremy, if you could drop it in there, certainly we'll listen to your show. Is this not increasing the supply? because the demand is not going anywhere.
Correct.
Right? It's people are going to still.
I'm not
they're just gonna,
changing
they're just going to gripe about it.
Unless
I'm
Mr.
not-
Beast can make that soybean burger taste good, which
Lord.
he cannot.
Yeah.
And our family was
Yeah.
the victims of that one time
Bill
when we
Gates.
didn't know what we were doing, and we were in Tulsa or Fort Smith or something like that, and we ordered because my kids love Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
They're like, he's got a restaurant here. We need to order some food from there, get it delivered. We did, and it was all these soybean meatless burgers, and my kids just started gagging. It was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, the whole lab-grown meat thing is another.
it's
like
so
that's actually
gross.
another conspiratorial wrinkle in all of this. You know, the market gets so small that then they can force 3D printed meats or
They got
whatever
about 2
lab-grown
bites
meats on
in, you
people.
could just see the looks on their faces, and they were like, this is not meat, Dad. This is not a burger.
But listen to this. Like, this is the same kind of tweet that most everybody that disagreed with him, they would say something like this. President Trump is right to make lowering grocery prices for the American people a priority. I share his commitment. At the same time, it's so interesting to see Republicans.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what they're saying. Hey, I understand what he's trying to do here, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're right or he's right.
Yeah, look at this. Senator Pete Rickards. I appreciate the administration's work to lower grocery prices. Short-term policy shifts. it's all got to be front-loaded
It's
with the
the same
qualification.
spin.
Look at this, Congressman Troy Downing. I understand the president taking action to lower grocery prices, but it cannot happen on the backs of our ranchers. I find it all funny. Like, all right, I'm going to disagree with the president here.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to do it as politely as I can.
It is
know.
crystal clear, though, in looking at this now and having this conversation and seeing a lot of these videos and a lot of things that you're putting up for us all in the chat. Like, this is not a problem that just cropped up over the last couple of months. This is not a problem that just came to a head with some little perfect storm over the last few days. Like, this has been going on for many years.
It has. I
This
remember.
is a long
Yeah.
journey of a problem, and his little Band-Aid over a gunshot wound is just that. He's not trying to answer all of the problems in the beef industry by this purchase.
Yeah.
He's literally just trying to
90
give
days.
a little 90-day cushion.
Midterms,
Cr-
90
that
days.
is clear from this. So all the politicians can bloviate and say whatever they want to. The Democrats can jump on him and tell all Americans that he must hate farmers because he's doing this. And the Republicans have to say what they're going to say. Their little tongue-in-cheek messaging, but it is crystal clear, hopefully, to everyone that this is not some problem that we're just now figuring this stuff out. That this is an issue.
No, I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, to your credit, I just looked this up, Eric, and, 30 years ago, ribeyes, roughly $5 a pound, which was pretty expensive, honestly,
Yeah,
considering
30
how
years
cheap
ago.
things were. But ribeye has always been sort of a delicacy kind of thing. It's
That's
not
literally the
Yeah.
best part of the cow.
Correct.
Arguably.
Amen.
No,
Here we go.
There's a discussion about
No,
that.
there is a discussion. As a matter of fact, when I was in my younger days, I was ribeye all the way. As
Okay.
I've gotten older, I still love a ribeye, but as I've gotten older, a nicely marbled New York strip to
If
me
done well, yes.
is better than a ribeye some days.
Sure.
So
And now upwards of could be up to $25 a pound.
so $5 a
Yeah.
pound to 25.
We were talking about the other day on Friday. Was Sam's Club, and I was like, $17 a pound. And this was on sale. $17 a pound for a ribeye. Just wanted to pop
On
in there and
sale.
grab some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, jump in here, get
Yeah.
it while it's hot.
That was
folks.
like the yellow sticker.
Yeah,
the
like-
yellow sticker,
like-
super saver special.
like it's been on the shelf for a couple of days. We're like, we need this gone.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We'll mark it down. We'll cut them a deal at $17.
I looked
a
at my
pound.
son. I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I paid $22, $23 on Friday for a couple of bone-in New York strips down here at this meat market down
Oh
here.
yeah.
That's
Which
it
is
was
great.
actually
Which
delicious.
is great. Yeah.
It was actually really good. But
I
still,
buy skirt steak and flat irons and tri-tips from them all the time. They're really good.
I also saw they had the beef ribs. The
big dinosaurs.
Yeah, the dino, the short. They're basically short ribs,
Yes.
uncut
Listen.
short ribs. Which in Arkansas it's rare to find those. Obviously in Texas they got them all, but they are the if you barbecue them right, offset.
Yeah.
They're the Rolls Royce of barbecue bites.
Yeah.
It's like the best barbecue bite you can have, aside from a good brisket. That's anyway, that's another
Yeah.
debatable point. Sorry.
So,
I'm gonna,
just an update.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah, just an update for people who are not in our chat. So Jeremy has said that he thinks Trump's doing the right thing. I think that's what he's saying here, that the 90 days will help. But ultimately, it's these refineries that are causing the increase in price. And
so when you say refineries, you're talking about the packing places,
Yes.
the processing,
Yeah.
packing, that whole middleman or whatever. Well, that's the thing. At some point, because it depends on what you read, but I mean, a lot of people. I remember the late state senator Gary Stubblefield, Arkansas state senator Gary. Okay, so this was 6 years ago. I remember him making a post. He was a cattle farmer. He passed away, last year sometime. But they made a post. He talked about how expensive a steak was, and then he was like, the price of cattle. And I don't remember what it was back then. He was like, this does not make sense. There's no reason why I sold my cow for this much a head, and yet a steak is costing this outrageous amount of money. So to your point, Eric, this has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
I believe that the meat packers are at the point where they are a monopoly. There's been some independent journalists that have done deep dives about
how they communicate with each other,
how they're connected, and you get a real organized crime feel from it all. So
it's 85% of all. There's 4 companies, and there's 85% of all meat packing is done by these 4 companies, and there's done, to your point, some investigative journalism here, essentially, where they're finding communications with these guys. You want to talk about price fixing?
Yeah.
That's the very definition of it. Yeah. You want to talk about a monopoly, an illegal empire almost at this point, because like if you're coordinating prices to increase your profits, to squeeze out the little man. Jeremy was even talking too about these smaller cattle farmers. They're older, they're selling out, right? They're just like, I'm tired of fighting the fight, and they're going. Well, then who's buying these cattle farms out? Okay,
yeah.
Maybe it's not a direct thing, but I mean, how many chickens does Tyson own?
Yeah.
A ton. Right? And I would imagine they own some cattle as well.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where at the very least it's got to be looked at, because that 85% being controlled by 4 companies wouldn't be a bad thing if they were truly competing against each other.
Yep.
They're competing with each other.
Here's the question. Here's my question, and I don't know the answer to this. How many of these Republicans who have come out and been like, man, I agree with what you're trying to do, President Trump, but this is going to hurt our ranchers. How many of those same Republicans would be willing to undo the meat packer monopoly? And I would imagine there's a few of them that are against that. And you see what I'm saying?
Well, because they just talk out of both sides of their mouth.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm trying to say. I would imagine there's a lot of them because, I mean, go look at the Senate Agricultural Committee. Go look at the hearings when they've tried to address this issue and who brings in actual cattlemen versus who brings in lobbyists for the meatpacking plant. Mm-hmm. You can figure out real quick who's captured and who's not, right? Who actually wants the status quo to continue and who wants to make lasting change. But there was a time in this country where 85%, they'd say, that's a monopoly, we've got to do something. We can't
AT&T in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. We can't have that anymore. And so there's still a lot of work to be done. Obviously, you got to have Congress to do something like that. I mean, I suppose you could try to break them up with an executive order, but, good luck with that. But this is kind of another one of those examples where, they may be telling you with their mouths, oh, this is terrible, but what have they been doing, since they've been in Congress, and do they actually care about this with the legislation, or are they just listening to the donors? Yeah.
Well, I know we got to move on, but I'll be excited to watch Jeremy's show after us, and because apparently he's going to spend some time talking about that.
So we are. It's right now. It is the bottom of the hour, 8:35 Central Time. So we're here for another hour and a half, basically, where you'll be able to watch live from America with Jeremy Harrell. No relation. Coming up in about an hour and a half. So let's get to it. We've got some crazy stuff to get to. And so anytime that we're talking crazy, it's time for Left Turn at Crazy.
Left turn ahead.
Crazy.
All right, so on Thursday and Friday, we brought you this story a couple of times. We talked about it, Eric did, about Lindsay Clancy and this tragedy unfolds where she murdered her kids, slit her wrist, threw herself out a second-story window, and paralyzed herself from the waist down, and how she's confessed to this. The only question as to whether or not she's going to jail for the rest of her life or whether she's going to an insane asylum for the rest of her life. We've talked about the mental health aspect of this because that's what people want to do, which is fine. She was on 30-something, a cocktail of 30-something antipsychotic drugs that somehow made her psychotic. And so I'm all about going after the doctors. I'm all about that. I think we all agree here. But the women on the left that have it ingrained in them where you can't tell a woman no and you also can't publicly talk about how a woman is guilty of anything, apparently that's blasphemy, have been triggered and have tried to figure out a way to blame a man for what is obviously a woman's sin and own moral failings here, murdering her 3 children. So,
I saw this, Paul, that was very interesting, and it was a detailed breakdown of insanity versus crazy from an attorney. And this was attorney, been 30-year attorney, and I should have sent you the clip. But it was extremely interesting to me because I've always lumped those two together.
Mm-hmm. I thought they were the same.
I'm about to open your mind here because this one opened mine. But he talked about the difference in insanity and crazy. A crazy person is going to go around and do these crazy things, whatever it is, whether it's murdering, raping indiscriminately, anything like you've lost. Like I think we all agree, you have to have something wrong with you to look at a child and be sexually aroused. Like you've got something broken in your brain, and I'm not forgiving it whatsoever. As a matter of fact, go on an island or just eat a gun for all I care if you harm a child. But what he said, okay, here's the difference. A crazy person will try to cover their tracks as they commit a crime. Someone who is legally insane, such as they hear a voice telling them to steal from Walmart, and they say Zardar is coming down from Saturn, and he has
Zardar.
Yes, whatever. I just made that up. Zardar is coming down from Saturn, and there's about to be a massive food shortage. So Walmart has opened up its shelves and said everybody can just come in and take what they want to take. Someone who is believing that Zardar is coming down, whatever. Don't get lost in that example, but somebody.
Sorry, I can't let that go. Go ahead.
Somebody that thinks they truly believe it will walk in, grab the food, and walk out and not think anything of it. They literally think that is happening.
Okay.
And therefore, that person is insane. Okay? Versus a crazy person who's willing to do evil things. To me, this woman far more fits into that because of all of the things she tried to do to cover her tracks, even beforehand and afterhand. Yeah. Okay? Taking a phone call after strangling 1 or 2 of them, I don't know, but strangling after she's already killed at least 1 of her children, she takes the phone call, sounds completely normal. Okay? Now, somebody would say, well, that means because she was insane. No. She wanted to kill her children. Mm-hmm. And let's just say she was hearing some voices that were telling her to kill her children, she was trying to cover her tracks. And the attorney said, that is the difference between insanity and crazy. Insane people don't try to cover their tracks because they truly don't think they're doing anything wrong.
Interesting.
Make sense?
Totally.
So from my perspective, this woman fits into the crazy, which means that she should spend the rest of her life in prison. Yeah. There are several...
So crazy and not the insane.
Two
Correct.
things. It's like my dad always said, 2 things can be happening at the same time. Two things can both be true. She can be suffer from severe postpartum depression with all kinds of mental health issues, be on a plethora of psychotropics that are messing up the chemical signals of her brain. She's having all these issues. That can be true. 2 things can be true at the same time. That part can be true, but she can also send her husband out on an errand
Yep.
to intentionally distract him so that she can kill her children.
Mapping out
And
how
then-
long it takes to drive.
and have the mental capacity to do that for that evil that she did. And because of that, because two things can be true at the same time, she needs to be removed from society. She cannot be able to just be let the slate be washed clean of her sin and evil and crime and just be allowed back in because of some crazy plea in the justice system. Two things can be true at the same time. She can have had all that stuff going on with her, and then the way she did it, and so that it just makes all these ladies that are and all these crazy people that are jumping in with her and supporting her to the capacity that they are. Like, we talked about this the other day too. Remember, what was the lady that killed back in the 90s that killed her children?
Not
No,
Lorena Bobbitt.
that was the. That was.
Oh, why did you bring her up? Don't
Sorry.
bring up that
was
evil
the cup.
woman.
I forget. I'm sorry. I forget the lady's name. I can see pictures of her from the Mills church photography.
She put her kids in a car and pushed it in the lake.
Pushed them in the lake.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now she was trying to. She was in love with another man.
The reaction and the cultural reaction from other women back then versus now, it's like night and day.
Oh yeah, that's right. All of the women in America were
Yes.
like, "You're a baby
You're
murderer.
evil.
You're evil. You got to go." And now they're standing outside the
my point.
courthouse
The
holding their
juxtaposition
kids.
of the way that women in the 90s reacted to this woman who murdered her 3 kids versus what's going on
Susan
now. It's
Smith.
just- that maybe that's probably
Susan Smith.
Susan
That's
Smith.
it. That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you, chat.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just the difference in those two reactions by our culture, and just to see the how far we've fallen.
Here's an
in-
actress. What's this?
Juliette Lewis.
Here's Juliette Lewis.
Look at these. I mean, look.
She's actually sane.
Because enough is enough. The filming of oneself or taking pictures crying, you're in distress, people doing a post, putting music to it. So they're telling you about a brutal situation or a hard day, and then they're scoring it. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What if I started crying? Why? It'd be like the equivalent of me crying, and I'm holding this button, and I'm crying.
It is. She's exactly right.
She is so spot
It's like
on, man.
performative. It's
Audrey from Christmas Vacation wins.
There she goes.
Yes.
With that video. Well done.
Well, I just think that, and there's something. I'm not a woman. I'll never be a woman. But so I'll never understand postpartum.
You heard it here first, folks. He will
Yep.
never be a woman.
Yeah,
We're going to
postpartum.
hold you to that, brother.
Yeah.
They say, isn't it within just a very short amount of time, like 3 to 5 weeks post delivery, and her youngest was 8 months old? I'm not trying to say that she wasn't still suffering from it, and it's very obvious this woman was not well in the head. Nobody is trying to say that. There's also some schools of thought here that talked about, hey, husband, why the heck did your wife has been going to these, crazy doctors, right? Trying to get some crazy pills. And she's been doing this for quite some time. Why are you putting her in charge solely of your kids? I understand that there was something about maybe try to have somebody with her. He started working from home. I'm not trying to blame the husband as well. But those are valid questions to ask. But they're going the opposite direction here, and they're saying he did it. There's people out there that believe he truly did it.
Yes.
So there's several buckets that I would say people fall in.
Yeah.
Right? You've got
Good point.
she's done it. She deserves the death penalty or to spend the rest of her life in prison. She's done it, but she just needs to go to a mental institution. Okay, she needs to get this help. She's paralyzed from the waist down. All of this stuff. That's what she needs. She did it, but she shouldn't be held guilty because at that time she was insane. And I feel bad for her because of her postpartum and all of her mental health issues and all of that stuff. And then the other bucket, the craziest of the buckets, she didn't do it. the husband did it, and he has forced her to believe that she did it because she's crazy. And every person who has made a video, reporters, I watched one this morning, a reporter who said, I have spent every day in that courtroom. And of course, it's not video streamed, but she said, I've spent every day in that courtroom. She goes, I'm just giving you an objective thing because she's trying to keep the crazies from jumping on her. She's like, there has not been one single solitary shred of evidence that would point to the guilt of the husband. And that is a journalist sitting in there in that courtroom every single day.
Look, and I love a true crime podcast just as much as the next person. Who that lady that was up in the Northeast there where the boyfriend got killed in the snow or whatever, and there was a bit, you know, I mean, I like that. I think there may be some.
He was a cop.
Yeah, there was
and,
some validity
she
to
backed
that.
over him and ran over.
She was acquitted, right?
Right.
But I love a true crime podcast as much, but this is absolutely insane. This is moving towards the
Careful that word, insane.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe it's just crazy.
Maybe
not
it's just
insane.
crazy. Maybe it's just crazy.
It's to Eric's point earlier. It's a serious indictment of where we are as a society, and it makes me sick to my stomach.
Listen to the framing from this Fox News broadcast.
So when I first started, paying attention and looking into this case, it actually broke my heart for everyone involved in this. And I hate that it takes something like this to have a real conversation about women's mental health and postpartum depression because...
Okay, so you started looking in this case and your heart breaks for everyone involved. And the first thing is postpartum mental health, depression, blah, 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 blah. What about the kids? What about the 3 kids? That's what you lead with, okay? You lead with the fact that 3 kids are dead. And that's why Matt Walsh is saying, my heart breaks for the children. She systematically executed one by one.
Yeah, and I don't know what order she murdered them in, but the oldest was a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old had some realization of what's going on.
I can't.
I know, and I'm just trying to say, like, that's what Matt Walsh is trying to say.
Exactly, and that's why, again, this is a whole nother conversation that needs to happen. But if she's guilty and they don't find the insanity, I mean, the death penalty is not on the table here, which is insane to me. That's insane. That is insanity. That's a society that she's just going to spend the rest of her life in jail. I'm sorry. No, she should be, give her the gospel, tell her that, yes, you can be forgiven. But society, the God of heaven gives government the sword for a reason, and we're going to put you to death for this. You talk about the feminists having a cow. If that were to happen, they wouldn't be able to process that. I'm going to be held responsible for my own actions. 50 years of murdering your babies and us not holding you responsible for that. And then when you actually, you murder them when they're outside the womb, we don't even have justice, in my opinion, when it happens in that context. It's just, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I agree that it's a tragedy. Okay, I agree that it's a tragedy for everyone involved, including this woman who obviously needed some medical help, and either that or she's just a truly evil person and she's convinced everybody that she's hearing voices and all of that stuff. We'll never know. We can't see inside someone's head, not that way. But even if on the face of what we know from what she's saying and what her defense is saying, it's a tragedy of her life as well, because we do have a mental health problem in this country. We've talked about it ad nauseum. And I'm so sick of us having these regular occurrences when we're the richest country in the world, and we should have the best mental health care. And I just don't understand why we don't. Now, I also believe that we go overboard with some of this stuff, and we are treating people who just say, maybe you're just having a crappy day, Janice. Like maybe you're not clinically depressed. Maybe you're just having a crappy day. We all have them. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to talk down about somebody's mental situations, but when half the damn liberal women are in therapy, that tells you everything you need to know about that party. Either you are predisposed to be a Democrat because you're already crazy, or the people inside in that echo chamber is just a feeding ground for lunatics. There are rational people on the left. I have tons of friends that what I would call an old school liberal, an old school Democrat. Could we sit around and have lunch and conversations with these people? Absolutely. But you got crazy ass women on video holding their babies with multiple camera angles, crying with dramatic music, as Juliette Lewis was saying, dramatic music with the caption, same, Lindsay,
and the implication
same.
is I'm one step away from murdering my kids
Somebody
too.
call DHS and get that kid from that woman.
All right, so Rob, I said I was going to come back to this. Your analogy about Zardar.
Oh my gosh, Paul's that has been brainworming on Paul over there.
It has.
Somebody said in the chat, they're like, I named my dog Zardar.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Zardar.
I'll tell you what.
They're like, oh my goodness, I got a dog named Zardar.
I didn't honestly did not even pre-think about that. That's just what came to my head.
I know. I think it was a total. I agree with you. I think it was, but I think maybe you're thinking of the 1974 movie that none of you have ever heard of, in all likelihood, where somehow they convinced Sir Sean Connery to star in a movie called Zardoz. Zardoz.
Oh, okay. Well, at this time, this was shortly after when he was. There you go.
When I say convinced.
There he is. That's a man, baby.
If you want to watch a movie that's so bad, it's good. This would be the movie for you. They convinced Sean Connery. Matter of fact, here's a little trivia for you.
He must have got a big paycheck for that.
I have no idea, but here's the trivia for you. This movie is bonkers insane. This movie is so crazy. But because it was such a flop, obviously, right? You guys have never even seen it. Matter of fact, the best way to watch this, if you have friends, show them this movie, but cover the screen when Sean Connery's name comes up in the opening credits, so they don't know anything about the movie, and then their jaw will hit the floor when he walks on.
This is the original Borat, by the way. This is
yes.
Look at it. That is
the plot of the movie is insane.
That's where Sacha Baron Cohen must have gotten his inspiration.
It was so bad. The movie was so bad that. Now, I don't know if this is true, but people have approached Sean Connery about fantasy sci-fi movies throughout his career, the late Sean Connery. And he turned many of them down because of this movie. Allegedly, he was approached to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, said no because of this movie. He was approached to play Morpheus, according to reports, in The Matrix. Turned it down because
he wanted nothing in that realm.
Nothing in that realm. And then he finally said yes towards the end of his career to that movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, yeah,
and that was a terrible movie.
It was a flop, yeah.
So he always struck out for the most part. You can maybe say arguably Highlander. I think he's in Highlander with Duncan MacLeod, the 80s movie. But aside from that, this is the movie is why you never saw him in any sci-fi.
So
or fantasy.
AV 1965. Well, Sean Connery was my favorite Bond until seeing this. And that's the truth.
Yes.
My goodness. So I mean,
my name is Borat. I can see him saying it right there, holding that gun.
This has to be right there at the end of his 1974. I don't know when his last Bond movie was. Was it
he made 60s? Another one in the 80s? Didn't he make one in the early 80s? Never Say Never Again or something. Wow. Made like one last Bond movie. He came back really old.
Oh, he did.
He came back for one Bond that was just kind of like really, really old.
Listen, man, I got to be honest.
Dude,
like,
there's literally a floating head in this movie that comes down to the beginning, and it's like. It's just giving all the men guns, and then they're all shooting each other, and this movie is crazy. A floating, anyway.
The costume director walked up to here and said, "Mr. Connery, here's your outfit for the day."
You're right.
Yeah,
unofficial. Never Say Never Again.
I know. Yeah, he's got like gray hair almost.
So that's. 1962 was Dr. No, and then 1983 he's still working it.
And this is right there in the middle of it.
But in 74, he's like, "I've got to do something to be relevant again."
Yes.
He's still hooking up with Bond
chicks. Let's just have my package hanging
Zardoz? What's the script? Zardoz, you say? That's the title? Well, let me give this a read.
And what's up with these thigh-high boots, man?
I'm telling you, man. We got to get off this, but
All right.
this is what time is it? Man, all
He
right.
borrowed those from one of the ladies of the night. For
All right.
sure.
In keeping with our left turn at crazy segment, I wanted to put a bow on this. This was a crazy headline I saw over the weekend. Kristen Stewart wants to reboot the Twilight series, but make Bella gay.
Okay, so she's bisexual. She's come out as bisexual. I wish I didn't know that. I wish I didn't know anything about her, but it was a big deal. She's come out as bisexual.
Yeah.
Now everybody's coming out as pansexual and like no sexual, and I'm just nothing. But anyway, she's a complete liberal lunatic tool, and so this is not a surprise that she would have something so stupid.
She says, Kristen Stewart wants to continue the Twilight story rather than simply remake it. She said during a recent televised appearance, saying she wants to reboot to be a version where Bella Swan returns and comes out as gay. Stewart, who's played Bella throughout all 5 Twilight films from 2008 to 2012, appeared on The Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen alongside the Wrong Girls co-star. Whatever, who cares? So yeah, that's kind of weird. The whole story was based on high school, young adult romantic, a teenager falling in love with a vampire.
Yeah.
But it was clearly a heterosexual love.
Right. Well, so it just reminds me, and I talked about this off air. It reminds me of an episode of South Park where they made a spoof of, and they spoof everybody on South Park, and on this one, Cartman became the new executive, like the CEO there.
Kathleen Kennedy.
He became
Kathleen Kennedy
of Disney, right? And so he's sitting around having these production meetings, and they're like, well, we've got this story coming up. We thought you might like to look at. Put a chick in her and make her gay. That was literally the plot line, was to put a chick in the movie and make her gay. And then, of course, all these executives are sitting around, well, actually, we just lost $100 million on this last movie because we did that. I don't care. Put a chick in her and make her gay. And I'm like, that's literally what these lunatics are doing. I never watched Stranger Things, but like in the finale or whatever,
they had to make one of the characters gay.
And they said, I was watching this stupid video about it, and it said that they had to film that scene 37 times just to get it right. And I always say, if you're trying to force things like that ought to tell you. Yeah. That ought to tell you where you're coming from. You're doing something wrong here.
And this was in the 1980s, and the guy comes out as gay, and all of his friends are like, well, we still love you. Everything's fine. We're still a family. It's like, in actuality, if that had happened in the 80s.
Oh, in the 80s?
The men would have been like, ew, gross.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like,
no,
we're not friends with you anymore.
It would have been really bad. Now, that's not
the closet for you.
Yeah, that's not right, the way we used to do that stuff or whatever. But it wasn't realistic at all. Of course, it's Stranger Things, which is not really, it's like fourth dimensions and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's just the whole theme is everybody's gay. It's so common. And then you look at the actual percentage of the population that is, in the LGBTQ plus
RSTLNE, would you like to buy a vowel?
Yes. Then you look at that percentage, and it's a lot smaller than what they would have you try to represent.
Interestingly enough, South Park was right. Kathleen Kennedy put a chick in it, make her gay. Now I feel like this is the next step. They're going back to the movies that already had chicks in them and are retroactively making them gay.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, man.
Anyway,
I'm really surprised they didn't do that with Skywalker. When they brought the Rise of Skywalker. I was like,
according to who you talked to, they kind of did. They kind of did.
Well, they snuck in a same-sex couple kissing in the background.
Schwartz is as big as mine. Sorry,
they're making Spaceballs.
We're just like
making Spaceballs too.
We're just like,
I can't wait
thinking of movies and saying lines from them.
Once he said Luke Skywalker, my thought was
that's the connection.
We're three dudes. We're going to talk about that stuff.
All right, we're going to go
to
break. We're going to go to break and be back here in just a minute. Reset for hour number 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. We can't do the show.
We've got a lot of show left.
A lot of show left. Back here in just a moment.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red 5.
Why is Red Vibe different? What sets it apart? What sets us apart from the standard red light panels? This is a medical grade device, and what that means is the red light bulbs and the near infrared bulbs have very specific wavelengths. If you think about the wavelength as the medicine, the 635, the 670, the 810, the 850, those were specifically chosen because those are the most powerful effectors of the cells. So those specific wavelengths, when they get into our body, when they affect our tissue, they spike energy production, they help with nerve pain control, they increase stem cell counts. There's very specific mechanisms that those specific wavelengths work at, and that's the medicine. So if you think of, say, medicine as an Advil or a specific steroid or a blood pressure medication, the wavelength is the medication. The other part of that, whenever you take a medication, is dose. Right? So you have the medication. So if you take 1 milligram of Advil, and the average dose of an Advil is 200 milligrams to 800 milligrams, it's not going to work. That doesn't mean the medicine's bad. It just means you didn't take enough. Right? And so even if you have the right wavelengths, first you have to have the right medicine, and then you have to have the right dose. And to have the right dose, you have, in light therapy, you have to have enough energy. So you have to have a powerful bulb. The LED bulbs, or light emitting diodes, have a specific wavelength, and that wavelength is the medicine. And the wavelengths that have been studied and published on that are the most powerful in affecting healing and the changes that we want to see with our bodies and our health are the 635 wavelength, the 670, 810 nanometer wavelength, and 850 nanometer wavelength. Those are all going to affect the mitochondria, the cytochrome C oxidase, and affect those powerful long-term changes and affect that downstream pathways. And that's what you get with Red Vibe devices. The highest efficacy, the best wavelengths, concentrated to help your health.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago, he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier, and when my daughters, Macy and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the mush puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about 1.5 years ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
The Paul Harrell Program.
My name is John.
Welcome to the show, folks. Thanks so much for being with us. We really do appreciate it. Can't do the show without you. Broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas. This is hour number 2. Really do appreciate it. We got a few of your comments here. Let's see. Angie, 1943. Good morning, everyone. I'm here, but I'm driving. Very interesting show today. Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of you out there listening, watching here on Live from America. Also know that the Paul Harrell program is broadcasting over on YouTube, as well as LFA is on YouTube as well there. So feel free to navigate either way. We would love it if you could like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you're watching. Do all the things. We would very much appreciate it. So we're going to start things off. Hour number 2 is time for the Fourth Amendment funeral. All right, for this edition of the Fourth Amendment Funeral, I want to introduce you to this guy. Here he is. His name is Cody Morlock, and he allegedly brought down a flock camera, cut it down, said, I don't want this in my town, city, or wherever anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. And now we have this report from a couple of days ago over at futurism.com. Never heard of this site. Headline, Grand Jury declines to indict man caught on camera destroying flock pole.
Yeah.
And
Not
then-
all heroes wear capes, Paul.
And it's just hilarious to me. Here is the subheadline. Any good prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich.
Yes.
So what exactly is going on here? If this isn't an indictment on America's hatred of flock cameras, we don't know what is. On Wednesday, a grand jury in Ohio refused to bring felony charges against a Claremont County man accused of destroying a flock automatic license plate reader. In June, police in the Cincinnati suburb of Union Township arrested Cody Morlock, accusing him of removing bolts on the ALPR pole, toppling it over, and ultimately destroying the surveillance camera and its solar panel. The prosecution's case seemed ironclad. According to Cincinnati's Local 12, police identified Morlock using surveillance footage from multiple nearby cameras, combined with info gleaned from a credit card and a customer rewards account.
Dude was dead to rights.
Despite the evidence against him, the jury declined to indict Morlock, resulting in all charges being dropped. It's a searing referendum on the state's ability to prosecute alleged incidents of ALPR vandalism, as grand juries almost always bring charges against the accused. As New York Court of Appeals Chief Judge Sol Watchler once infamously declared, any good prosecutor can get a jury to indict a ham sandwich. That said, the outcome in this case likely is more the result of Flock's horrible reputation than any error by the prosecution. Flock's ALPRs are exceedingly unpopular across every swath of the political spectrum, and nearly every new case of vandalism comes with a wave of support on social media for the accused. With the charges against Morlock dropped, it seems that phenomenon isn't just limited to viral moments, but is increasingly spilling out into the real world. So like you said, Rob, you've heard of jury nullification before. Now
Didn't
we
even get there.
Grand jury nullification.
Yeah. People were just sitting around like, nope. I ain't indicting that dude.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
Yeah.
It's like a time to kill.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, they deserve to die.
I hope they burn it in.
No, the grand jury's like, you turn him loose.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
a hero.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. You turn
him
him
loose. Oh man, that's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is phenomenal. I mean, it's not very realistic because the stuff that they do in court, you know, like
Right.
you're entering all this evidence in or whatever. But that made Matthew McConaughey a star
Yeah.
overnight.
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting.
Joel
but-
Schumacher, though, also. Anyway, I know too much.
Alrighty.
He made sure everybody was sweaty the whole movie. You ever see it? He was constantly wetting everybody's face down because they wanted
yeah.
to feel like a hot Mississippi, town where everything
Sure.
is just,
It
caked
worked.
in sweat. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same director that put nipples on the bat suit in Batman 3. Anyway.
Here we go.
I digress.
I knew he was going there.
I couldn't help it.
Poor Val Kilmer. He had to look at that thing and go, really?
Yep.
Yeah, really. But I mean, how refreshing, right?
Joel
sitting
Schumacher's
here.
gay. That's what I'm trying to say. Joel Schumacher's gay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There it goes. It was like 3.
Okay, now your
2,
milking thing
3,
makes a lot more
2,
sense.
1.
You know.
Joel Schumacher's
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Flock cameras are bad.
well, we every day we're hearing about the flock cameras, and the CEO of the flock cameras is like literally the worst spokesman for any company ever. This dude's like, you can go to hell if you don't like these things or something like that. I mean, he's just like, how dare you even talk about these things? And then we're coming out with, we got some good local stories here in Arkansas, 3 districts that got rid of the cameras that were really there, police departments. But we just don't see enough of this. It's growing faster than it's dying. So where can we get some relief? Mm-hmm. Just take it into our own hands. And it just hopefully the grand jury sees it the same way every time.
And we're to be clear, we're not advocating that anybody go out there and vandalize property. You would be committing a crime, and you're putting yourself at risk, and potentially, especially if you're a father or a mother, you're potentially going to go to jail and abandon your family. So we're not saying that you do that, but it is a phenomenon we're reporting on, a la the Boston Tea Party. Obviously, those men took risks as well when they did what they did, protesting a tyrannical government with civil disobedience or vandalism in this case. So I look for this to continue, and this is a big problem, but it's also to me, it's encouraging that it does seem to go beyond the traditional two-party frameworks that we're all supposed to stay in. This is a populist issue that can really be utilized in a big way to protect our freedom, because this segment is called Fourth Amendment Funeral, because we are losing that in so many ways. Because, I mean, you can say, well, you know, maybe they should keep the flock cameras up and get a warrant. Well, yeah, that'd be great, but then again, we all know this is going to be abused. We all know everything it will be abused by these people. We have seen it. We've lived the last 10 years alone. I mean, everything that those of us on the right said, warning about the dangers of government, whether we're quoting George Washington, calling government a necessary evil, or, you know, we are going to quote, you know, the COVID, you know, totalitarians or whatever, we've all been proven right. Like, yes, in the hands, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that's where we're at.
I just want to reiterate, if this was just about scanning license plates and, you know, the ability to put out bolos and the police being able to look at these and identify someone who's a murder suspect on the run, which we see is a flawed situation, so they can't take that. They can't take it to be the gospel truth. They need to pull these vehicles over with a little bit more caution and quit pulling weapons on them like they're, you know, raiding their home or something. But I think if it was just that, I don't know that there would be as much pushback. Although even that's a bridge too far for me, because again, I mentioned last week a police officer friend of mine had posted on Facebook, and he just said, "What is the difference between this and those First Amendment auditors who walk around and put their cameras in front of the faces of these police officers to see if they're doing something wrong indiscriminately?
Right.
Walking around these police lots and getting videos of the license plates of those police cars, which, by the way, those police officers don't like that. They don't like it whatsoever. But anyway, he said, well, what's the difference? And I typed out a comment. I apologize if I'm being repetitive for something I said last week, but I typed out a comment and it said, because the Fourth Amendment is not for you. It's not for you as a police officer, someone who works for the government. Mm-hmm. The Fourth Amendment is for us.
Yeah.
It is protection from you. You shouldn't be able to skirt it and be able to invade my privacy. And somebody says, well, it's public view, it's your car. They're scanning the inside of your car. They can get the Bluetooth identification number from your cell phone and start tracking you.
Yeah.
A police officer can't even do that if they pull up and suspect you of a crime. Mm-hmm. That is a separate warrant that they have to get to be able to search your phone, unless they believe that you committed a crime with that phone. But if they just think you got drugs in your car, they may be able to search your car, but they can't search your phone. Now, every state's different, but that's the way that I understand it. I digress. I'm just saying the Fourth Amendment is for us. It is for us. And these cameras are increasingly technologically advanced, and they're increasing with their invasiveness. Thank you. And they are able to scan the inside of the vehicle. So what's next? They scan my vehicle and see if I've got so me and my buddy are headed to the lake. We got a cooler full of beer in the back. We're going to go spend some time at the lake, and they're scanning my vehicle, and they see that I've got, a 30-pack of Busch Light.
Or they monitored the purchase you just made.
Or they just monitored it, yes. Or they saw that I went to, the liquor store, and they were following me all along that way. When does it end, folks? I haven't even committed a crime, but you're monitoring me to see if I commit a crime. And what are we seeing? Even worse, we're seeing these police officers use this for personal gain. Personal vendettas. You got the guy that goes to the town council and he gripes about everything. He's not breaking any laws, but he's pissing everybody off because he goes and speaks out about spending for the police departments. He says, hey, you don't need a military arsenal of weapons in the back of your vehicle, and I'm going to speak out against it as a taxpayer, which is his right. Mm-hmm. And you got police officers that are following him around because they don't like it. Well, in this case, it was one specific police officer. And they're just checking out his location. They're finding where he's at. And this guy keeps pulling up where he's at. Folks, that's one instance. That's one. Would you just multiply that times infinity if these flock cameras get everywhere? you will have no protection. And somebody says, well, you're outside of your house. You don't have protection. The Supreme Court has ruled on that if it's in public view. The inside of my car, certainly the inside of my trunk, I drive a truck, but I have a bed cover. That is not public view.
No, that is. And matter of fact, that's why a lot of Second Amendment rights were gained when we got these states passing laws saying that inside your car is an extension of your home. Or curtilage.
Folks, we are not more than a couple of years away from a police officer being able to walk up on your doorstep and scan the inside of your house to see if you have something in there.
6G allegedly does that.
Yeah.
Folks, and if we don't take a stand
Minority
now,
Report without the precogs.
Yep.
I mean, this is where it gets to your point about we're not too far from getting down the path of, these folks on these screens doing Tom Cruise stuff, saying, what does he have? Does he have those bush lights? Are there still 30 of them in there, or are only 29 of them?
Yeah. Has he got a roadie?
Precog is like
whatever. I mean,
precog is like,
take that to wherever.
I sense one has been consumed.
As somebody said in the chat, like Flock says that they're about, A or X, and actually they're they're through X through Z. Like they're all these things. They're doing all these things and are capable of all these things. The spin is that they're just here to protect you, and if your son or daughter was kidnapped, we can find the criminal. It's like
also,
we've
what
talked
are the odds?
about that before. That's their fallback.
Somebody run the odds for me. What are the odds? Langley is a unique name. Langley, Virginia. Everybody knows that's where the CIA is headquartered. The CIA at Langley. Whatever new movie that they're putting out that's going to, try to cast the CIA as our saviors in a positive light. Whatever next Jack Ryan Amazon show that, by the way, is just getting more and more unwatchable. What are the odds that the guy putting cameras up everywhere, taking away our Fourth Amendment rights, the guy's last name is Langley? What are the odds of that? I just find that to be incredibly suspicious.
Well, so there's a poster here that U.S. Constitution Patriot. Unfortunately, people are not well educated in the flock cameras. There are only 120,000 nationwide. Does not have continuous stream. It's 7-second picture snaps. And it takes permits, etc. Currently, there are over 85 million. I don't know what that means. Currently, there are over 85 million. But regardless, it seems to say that it's not. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, U.S. Constitution Patriot. Are you saying that this is not as big of a problem as we're making it out to be? Because there's only 120,000 and it's only these photos? Okay. Yeah. Well, just very recently, it wasn't able to scan Bluetooth. It was just license plates and identifiers on vehicles.
And, VIN numbers.
Yes, and VIN numbers. And now we're scanning the cell phone that's sitting in my car. I can scan inside of that. So that's just the most recent update. Let's fast forward 2 years. What kind of exponential growth can we see with the existence of these flock cameras and how much bigger and much more widely used they're going to be? And let's be honest, a lot of this crap's going to happen in blue states where invasion of privacy is not something they care about. The government knows best.
Yeah.
The government knows best. And I know we're
they've
going to talk
already
about some
had
of
those policies for years, stop and frisk. I mean, the urban environment is where constitutional rights are the weakest anyway.
Yeah. So you're saying that the technology, right? Any person might say that the technology either exists or it's going to exist, but they're not going to use it. That's unreasonable. That's really not going to happen. We already have the technology, as I've talked about in these airports, that can scan everything in your bag. How far away are we with some handheld device? I mean, think about the first computer was the size of a room, right? And how powerful is this computer right here?
Dude, even at Sam's Club now, I don't have to show my receipt to them anymore when I walk out the door because the machines above are taking all of these pictures as I'm walking through their scanners, and it scans everything in my cart as I'm walking out. That's already happening too. I don't have to show them anything anymore. All the pictures are already and scans are already being taken.
I went to Lowe's Thursday. I went to Lowe's on Thursday, and I had a list. I had a piece of paper. It's printed out. I had a list of things for this house. We were doing some repairs on it, and I had a list of things that I had to buy. I bought everything. It was like 12 different items. And I scan it, and I go to push pay. And it said, alert, we've noticed a possible discrepancy. The camera was taking my piece of paper as an item that I wasn't scanning. It didn't realize that it wasn't an actual product.
It's your list.
It was my list because it was there.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, that lady came over. She was super nice. She had to check it. And I was like, who the hell is watching me here, you know?
It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt. And I thought, okay, well then why am I even scanning this in the first place? Because I know that there's those Amazon stores where you can walk in. Nobody really works there. You get your stuff and you walk out. Maybe it's still a concept store, but I watched that video of it, and you just walk out with your goods, and it scans it and scans your card on file with your Amazon account, and it just pays it. You don't scan it along a computer. It's just in your hands, and it's picking up all those barcodes. And I'm like, what? And somebody says that they're going to have this technology, or they do already have it, but they're not going to use it. You're naive.
The general thesis is we have the technology to enslave ourselves, to enslave humanity, and to deprive us of our rights. And that's one of the reasons why the middle class is there's a war on the middle class from the elites, from the intel oligarchy, because, again, the middle class, out of all the populations in first world countries, the American middle class specifically still believes in the freedom of speech and the right to privacy. And the very, very rich, for the most part, they don't really care. The very, very poor, they might care, but they really just want their circumstances to get better. It's the middle class that actually still believe in America. And so...
well, I just wanted noted that AI, there was this test that was done with this AI, Chat GPT style AI, and it was given a kill command. It was said to destroy yourself. But little did the developers know that AI program had secretly written itself a program to come back online. And I'm like, I've already seen this 30 years ago with these movies. Okay.
Yeah, right.
We know how this ends. Okay. And we're already there. AI is, I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to be doomsday and be like, oh, I'm all scared of it. There's really cool things. We've got these cool graphics that we make with AI. So I think there's some cool things about it. And I know that, the U.S. Constitution Patriot was saying, it's not just the flock cameras. They're turning these traffic lights into these as well. Well, that's been happening for a while, where you'll get the ticket if you go too fast and all of that. And it's just to say, he's saying that he or she is saying that it's the misuse of it that's the problem. Well, that's always going to be the problem. And if those cameras aren't up in the first place, then they can't be misused. That's where our frustration is, and that's why this guy tore this thing down, and that's why that grand jury didn't indict him.
Yep.
Because the people are saying it may not be a big issue now, but it's gonna be. And you're embracing it. It's going to be a whole lot harder to put the crap back in the horse after you've let it come out here, because that is what it is, crap.
I can get a good look at a T-bone.
And we're come full circle to the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Shut up, Richard.
The GOP is actually sounding alarm on this populist issue, by the way. There's a memo that has been leaked now about what's going on with the political environment in Ohio, specifically concerning data centers. Okay. I first saw this from Andrew Curran. The National Republican Senatorial Committee sent a private memo yesterday to U.S. AI companies warning them that the GOP is on the verge of losing Ohio over the data center issue. Okay? In the memo obtained by Axios, the National Republican Senatorial Committee says Democrats have made data centers a, quote, centerpiece of their campaign to defeat Senator John Husted, and that it's working. Quote, if he loses and data centers get the blame, politicians across the country will take notice, and they will not go near the next one. The memo says, this has been a sleeper issue for the entire election cycle. Let me actually read for you this memo because I want to let's see. This is the memo. What has to happen? Campaigns or party committees cannot fix the toxic brand of an entire segment of the economy. The companies that need these projects built have to fix how Ohioans see them, who benefits, who pays, and why a community should want one. Until that happens, I totally agree, by the way. I don't even know what these things are for. To me, it just reminds me of like, hey, 5G is going to be great, and 5G, to me, didn't really increase much of my speed at all. Until that happens, the issue will continue to dominate this race. If it is still this potent in November, elected officials everywhere will treat Ohio as the reason to work against data centers in the future. If voters' perceptions of data centers are not fixed quickly, the campaign against them will expand far beyond Ohio. So this is what the National Republican Senate Committee says the message needs to be. While the perceptions of data centers are weak, the American people are with us. By overwhelming margins, the American people prefer a Republican candidate who wants to only let data centers be built in communities that approve them by a local vote of the people and that pay their own power, water, and other utilities, versus a Democrat candidate who wants to stop data center construction altogether, which will cause America to lose the AI race to China. It says the federal government has already set the standard to ensure these things happen under President Trump. The Ratepayer Protection Pledge, all new energy supply for data centers is new power, no burden on existing customers. Data centers pay their own way on generation, no higher costs on families. The investment strengthens the grid, upgrades backup generation. American communities are strengthened, jobs, workforce, long-term growth. That's the message or whatever. The problem is you also have the perception, and because these data centers that have come in before the federal government has got involved here, people have seen their rates go up. People have already seen their power increase when these projects come. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a trust but verify moving forward. There's a lot of mistrust, and I know President Trump has said, hey, you need them. You need the data centers. I even saw somebody that I respect on the right, who's a big financier of right-wing Christian products, saying, hey, look, maybe the data centers, they need to be in some of these red states in the event that there's some sort of separation or fragmentation of the republic. If they're only in blue states, it could put red states potentially at a competitive disadvantage in the event of the cold Civil War turning hot, which I know that sounds crazy, but this is what some people are thinking. So I don't know, but I do agree with this memo that you better start telling us how this makes our lives better. I mean, at some point, it's just, at this point, from what I am hearing, it's like, well, it's going to create jobs. The construction, of course, construction, that's great. I mean, that's the nature of construction. You got to have new infrastructure. That's fantastic. But what about afterwards? Like, what are we talking about? How does this transform our economy? There needs to be some clear messaging, because I still don't know. Yeah. I don't know how this makes our lives better long term.
I don't know either. I just don't know enough about them. I do want to follow up with somebody that said something in our comments. He says, the B word. And so gripe about flock cameras while holding your phone, which is tapped.
Correct.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. We are hypocrites.
Totally.
We are.
100%.
We are. There is one caveat. This stuff's going to Apple, not the United States government.
Well.
Okay. Now. Well, they've come out and they've said, like, we're trying to find murder suspects, but Apple won't give us the passcode.
That's true.
And I know that there's some instances where they can and all of that stuff. So I'm not trying to say that my data is in better hands with Apple than it is with the United States government. But Apple's just going to use it to sell me more stuff.
Right.
That's why they want to use it. The United States government wants to see if I've been committing a crime.
Right. I think the difference is, your data is going to the U.S. government. If it's going to Apple, it's going to the U.S. government. Edward Snowden proved that much. The difference is can we use that in the court of law to convict you? And in order to do that, at least right now, you have to jump through the hoop of getting the private company to relinquish it so that it's actually admissible in court versus, hey, we've been spying on this guy the whole time, violating his Fourth Amendment, and we want to convict him. Well, you can't do that yet.
Right.
Right.
I get it. Bottom line, but my local police department cannot they can't log into my phone. They can't see everything that I'm doing on my phone, contacts I have.
Without probable cause.
Without something.
Without
something. Versus these flock cameras where these dudes are just pulling it up and wanting to find out where their ex-girlfriend is.
Yeah. In other news, folks, it looks like the how do you say this? I'm so uncomfortable saying this name.
You say you've said it in the past, like adult sex toy.
Yeah,
or just I don't think you have to say adult either, because just say sex toy.
Okay, yeah. So the sex toys, the flying sex toys of the WNBA, are back.
It's reported this week Park will skip the Asian Games.
Listen, watch stupid
guys like
here. Right there.
It's him.
Right there.
He threw it.
He right there.
Get him.
Like, who are you telling?
And security has made quick work.
Now
of
they've
this.
got their protocol down, though. Yeah. Now they they don't ever show it on camera anymore like they used to.
Okay.
Now they cover it with a towel like a dead body. And then the referee comes and grabs it under the towel because
they don't want to pick it up and it be
well,
flopping around.
initially that's what happened.
Yeah.
Initially, you got
a couple of the girls were kicking them off the court, Yeah,
then they would kick them. Like, okay, yeah. All right, so that brings us to our next segment, which is we affectionately call trans women are men. For this edition of Trans Women Are Men, Biology, Chromosomes, and Reality, we go to Enos Cantor Freedom, who recently was at a WNBA game over the weekend wearing this shirt. Woman, noun, adult, human, female. His presence courtside there, kind of on the baseline of the court, did not go well with some of the players.
No, they tried to go after him a little bit there, didn't they?
Yeah. We've got several angles here, but here's Enos Cantor Freedom. He was ejected after lesbian Natasha Cloud confronted Enos during the game.
Okay, think about what shirt he's wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Woman, noun, adult, human, female.
Yes.
And it sent this lesbo into rage.
Yes. A rage would be, I think, inappropriate. I think she just scored a point or something.
6-point basketball game. Chicago staying in it.
Now she's talking trash. And here's Enos. He's like,
break,
what?
This was the scene inside Wintrust
kind of ridiculous.
Arena.
Look at the height of it.
After Natasha Cloud got that bucket, she wanted her
She's
voice
big man.
heard.
She's big man.
So he stands up,
We have
and
talked
now
about
he is.
The conversations.
Now he's being escorted out. Here's another view angle of it. Look, she's saying you walked, you traveled. He's saying you traveled. Look at the wingspan on that guy.
Yeah, I don't know why he should have stepped forward.
He's going to be great when he gets in the league.
Oh man, he's going
to be awesome.
He's going to just destroy those ladies.
He's going to ball.
He's going to ball.
He's going to ball out. Here's another shot.
He's going to ball with the ball.
Going to remove.
Oh, there's people cheering him on.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think they want him in the league. How?
No, I think they're just sane people that are like, this is ridiculous. You're letting dudes play in women's sports, and now, this hypocrisy is being called out.
Yeah.
It's about time.
How can the WNBA ignore the ratings surge that would happen if they actually let Royce White and Enos Cantor Freedom?
Listen, you're naive if you don't think that the WNBA is growing already. In the last 2 years with Caitlin Clark, it has exponentially grown. Okay? They don't need this. I understand that mentality. But what their solution is they're just trying to ignore it and just let everybody get pissed off and, throw the dude out of the game and all of that stuff. Versus what they need to come out and say, what is a woman? Says it right there on his shirt. Noun, adult, human, female. Let's quit living in dream world with this dude walking around with male anatomy, standing up to pee, is somehow a woman because he says he's a woman. We've lost our damn minds. And there's so many people that you're not even allowed to talk about it. You're crazy. You're a hater. You're transphobic if you even talk about it. And it's my number one topic because it's the thing, other than this Lindsay Clancy stuff, which I don't understand as much, but it's the only thing that I'm pointing to, and I'm like, what are we talking about? It's a man. That is a man. And you're saying that you're a woman But worse, you want us to call you a woman. You want us to live in your dream world. And if we don't, we're bigots. We're transphobic. We're full of hate. When the hell did we lose our minds as a country, as a world? They're trans everywhere.
I don't even, I'll be honest, Paul, I don't even spend a whole lot of time thinking about the trans side of this, cultural issue we're having here in regards to the WNBA, because I don't put a lot of stock in that. My thoughts on the WNBA is the irony of the fact that those individuals who made the sport more popular, i.e. Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, are the ones getting destroyed by the other girls in the league who don't like that, and the WNBA eating their own and destroying themselves from within by bullying and physically assaulting the best players who are white to really just take them out and put them on the sidelines, which then doesn't make any sense because, as has been shown, when those two ladies in particular aren't on the court, ticket sales plummet. And it goes right back to how of much of a financial and money loser the league is in general, and loses millions and millions and millions of dollars a year.
They need to be.
The irony of the whole situation it just baffles me.
Yeah.
So to go on the trans side of things, that's like it becomes too much for my brain. But I'm just sitting here all the time laughing at the fact that these girls hate Caitlin Clark and hate Sophie Cunningham so much that they're willing to literally beat them up so that they can't play, which will lead to less people paying tickets to come and watch any of them play.
Yeah, it absolutely blows my mind that you have the Sophie Cunninghams of the world and the Caitlin Clarks of the world, and you're not building these women up.
Yeah,
you're trying to hold them down, and you've got all these jealous black lesbians in the league that cannot stand that these straight white girls are the most popular players in the NBA. They can't stand it. Okay, so you got racism, you got sexism, you got you prefer man's parts isms, like all of the isms. You got it right here wrapped up into it. And what was happening? Caitlin Clark coming out of Iowa, out of college, she was the biggest basketball star on the planet before she even entered that league. She was offered $5 million a year by Ice Cube, because he has this like ballin' sort of women's league. And he's like, because he's smart, he's a businessman.
Right.
Ice Cube knew what the deal was. Caitlin Clark's going to be the biggest star in the WNBA, even if she's not the best player. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she's not the best player. Although she last night scored 38 points and had 10 assists. She's the only player in history to do that 5 times. No other person has done it even 4, and you'd have to combine them to see, because it's only been done 4 other times. But anyway, she's rocking it right now. She's exciting to watch, and they cannot stand it. Sophie Cunningham got famous because she started standing up for Caitlin Clark, because that girl gets assaulted every game. They hate her. And they're the reason they got way more money in their pockets because of Caitlin Clark. But anyway, back to what I was saying, it all started in college. If you want to build women's sports up, you've got to push these because no one really watches, a whole lot of these women's sports outside of like UConn and women's basketball, Tennessee with women's basketball. You've got some heavy hitters there. But if you'll build up these women, and talk about them in college. Now, I'm not saying that you force it, but find these exciting players and get behind them instead of trying to put them on an island, calling them transphobic, telling them that they're outcasts because they're straight, white, and good.
It does occur to me, though, now that people are throwing the sex toys again, why is that something that people are wanting to do to mock the NBA, the WNBA, the female players? Obviously, it's because they're, like you said, 80% of them are lesbians. But it occurs to me,
that's an estimate. Nobody's coming out and saying I prefer the chicks.
No one's polling that. Like how many are gay?
When's the last time you rode a pogo stick?
Easy. But it does bring up an interesting conundrum that I've spoken with you guys off air about. they're throwing the sex toys on the court, and I think the elephant in the room there is
they all got them.
The elephant in the room there is if you like other women, like you're a lesbian, you like other women, why do your sex toys resemble that of men's
don't
anatomy?
try to get into the
Listen,
no, I'm just curious. Why wouldn't the toys resemble their own anatomy? This is the conundrum. This is the paradox of lesbianism.
This is the great conundrum.
This is the great paradox.
I don't know about that.
Right. They're total hypocrites.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I can tell you this, and we probably need to change the channel. I have some of my dearest friends are in a same-sex marriage. They're girls, and she told me over some drinks one day that she's like, all lesbian couples have those. I mean, it's just. It's a thing.
Here's the end. The end is
my gentlemen.
We got this AI.
So I think somebody.
Here we are on a Monday morning.
So Paul's point is that these people in the audience that are throwing these sex toys are just donating them.
Alms for the poor.
I have nothing to
Alms
add to
for
this
the poor.
Nothing.
Donating them.
Listen, I got the pro-choice people hating my guts. I got the trans people hating my guts. Now I'm gonna have.
That's a great defense, Your Honor. I was just donating them.
He's the white Dave Chappelle.
All right, here's an AI video with Royce White, and to be clear, I believe this is AI. They're putting out AI videos of these two men that want to enter the WNBA draft. What is a woman?
What is a woman?
Being a woman.
Is not so black and white, and size doesn't matter.
That's our motto.
Okay. What does being a woman mean to you?
Buckets. Buckets. Apparently us.
Ball is ball.
Ball is ball, man. Are we sure that's AI and they didn't come together?
I don't know. It's really well produced if it's not AI.
That seems to be
it's
real.
You know what's crazy? It just goes back to what I was saying about the growth of AI. AI videos a year ago were nowhere near as good as they are today. I'm like, look at that. So you said there was some of those that were funny, but
I just assumed it was AI. But after watching it a second time, I'm like, that was really.
Maybe that's why that chick got so mad.
Really well
at
done.
him when he was sitting courtside. She saw that video.
Hey man, ball is ball.
Yeah, ball is ball. I wonder was the Enes Kanter being thrown out? Was that the same game that the sex toy was thrown?
I don't know.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that as the same game.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think we got two different games going on.
Well, they were taking bets when this was happening. I think it was last year. They were taking bets on what color
would be thrown next.
The sex toy would be next.
Yeah, that's a Kalshi thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you're
talking about
some crazy prop bets.
Okay, I said that was the end, but now this is the end. Something happened over the weekend, folks, that is perplexing just from a pop culture standpoint. I don't really listen to a lot of music, but Casey Musgraves. Is Casey Musgraves?
She's a country singer.
She's a country singer. She was at a concert, and she decided to sing from what was officially described as two hanging disco balls. But
just let it speak for itself.
People quickly realized that something was terribly wrong with the props department, and this is what we got instead. We got Casey Musgraves singing from what can only be. I mean, this. Well, you just make your own judgment, folks.
Oh no!
People, I mean, can you imagine being there live? Can you imagine being at that concert? Like, oh, I love Casey Musgraves. I love
Even
her.
they're saying in the comments, patriotic lady 39. I love Casey Musgraves. Yeah.
Well, do you love her now?
She's floating around on some balls.
And it's like they're not even the same. Like they're not one is lower than the other. It's not even symmetrical. Like how do you how do you?
I don't know. And the glimmer of it makes it look hairy. I don't know.
Who thought this was a good idea? Who okayed this?
I don't think that. I just don't think that they realized what it was.
Come on,
like I just don't think.
Did she not do rehearsals and we're like, hey guys, does this look okay? It kind of looks a little weird to me.
Feel like I'm sitting on a scrotum sack up here.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I don't know how that kind of stuff escaped. I told you guys off air that it's been 15 years ago. We saw Martina McBride. Big 90s country singer. She was great. She put on a great show. But she got up on a big star, like it was I can't remember what color star it was, and she floated out across the audience singing on this star. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. And all these years later, country women are still floating around on things, but apparently now it's just nuts. And so I don't know how this escapes. A star makes sense. I don't have any clue.
I got nothing. And Eric's speechless by the whole thing.
Totally.
I don't know how does this that had to have been constructed. Well, what shape should we put this in, Johnny?
It reminds me. It's just so funny. It's like who got commissioned that job and how do you do that? It reminds me of the old who's the famous soccer player that's married to one of the Old Spice Girls?
Oh, Beckham.
David Beckham.
Remember when they did that prank on David Beckham and they unveiled his statue?
Yes.
And it was a prank, and it looked
horrible.
Looked like a guy with a genetic disease.
Yes.
And he had to be like,
bollocks.
Yeah. This doesn't look anything like me. His head's all misshapen. It looks like Bizarro David Beckham.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Listen, if she would have reached down below her and just scratched a little bit, I would have lost it.
Okay.
I would have lost it.
Well, then people are like, "Oh, this is part of the." Anyway, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Hold up. So think about this. That has to be moved somehow. Look at the shape of that thing. What kind of crate or something? They would have to put that in something big to move that from show to show. And some roadie is like,
yeah.
Damn it, man! I wish these things weren't shaped like balls.
It's on some trailer hanging like those the bull balls that you see on the back of some pickup trucks driving around here in Northeast Arkansas.
Like right there. Like right there.
Exactly. It's like when I saw that when you first showed the video, I was like, well, I've seen that on the back of about 100 pickup trucks in Craighead County plenty of times before, but I've never seen a country music girl sitting on them.
Lord, what
right.
Singing.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
All right, it's now time.
We spent a lot of time talking about balls, and
it's time for borderline insanity. For this edition of Borderline Insanity, we go to the news that the Trump administration is deporting people to random African countries that can only be described as hellholes. CBS News is trying to drum up support, about the deportation process. They highlight a story of Cuban immigrant Yasmani Moreno de Armas, who says that ICE never told him that he was being deported to the Central African Republic, a deeply impoverished country that the State Department warns Americans not to visit for any reason due to widespread violence. Listen to a little bit of the CBS report.
Y Yasmani, no pueden salir de ese edificio. You cannot leave that building.
No, con el oficial solamente. Aquí afuera. Porque ya se llevaron a él a Daniel.
Wow.
Nos tienen aquí detenidos en un centro.
They have us here detained in this facility. We can't leave. We don't have documents. We're suffering and our families are missing in a continent we don't know, another culture. There's a lot of violence here. We can't leave.
Los Estados Unidos nunca te avisó que te iban a deportar a África. The U.S. never gave you notice that you were getting sent to Africa.
No, I learned after 5 hours on the plane that we were going to Africa.
Okay, hold up.
Yeah.
Dude can't speak a lick of English.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you hear that translator in the back.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Cuban.
Could have just gone back to Cuba. Could have just self-deported, and you wouldn't wind up in Africa. What a great message we're sending.
Yes, and I believe that who was that? Aaron McIntyre that said just self-deport.
Yeah, self-deport before we send you to a random country that is much worse than the country you're from. That's exactly the message the Trump administration should be sending.
It should be, but unfortunately, if you come out and say that, that's not really going to That's not gonna play well for the papers. But sending them into the jungle in the middle of Africa
certainly play well to the base right now. That needs every win.
It does look like Pine
it
Bluff.
would. It
Feel
would.
free.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I could see arguments for both sides. Like at least just send him back to his country. But I'm like, well, he got out of there once and came here, and he wasn't supposed to. So there's been millions of people. What does it say? 2 million people have self-deported.
Yep.
In my opinion, the Trump administration should look at those people favorably when they come again. Don't just say, hey, we got you out, suckers. Here's your $1,000. Like, I think you should look at them favorably and give them an honest shake at coming back into the country legally. Okay? All right? Whether it's fear or not. Okay? But these people that are just waiting and hoping to not get caught, and there are certainly any that are committing crimes, I have no sympathy for you. Go in the jungle of Africa and try not to die of malaria.
I think
isn't that what the mosquitoes have in Africa?
Yes,
I think it's so rich though to hear him talk about how I'm in a culture now that I don't know this culture. I and you're just like, man. I mean, the same can be said. That's exactly where you were here, but you liked our country better because it's great and.
Well, yeah,
you were,
Well, you got a food stamp card on your second day into the country.
Exactly.
You can open a Leering Center. You can do all kinds of stuff here, and suck off the teats of the American taxpayer. But you can't really do that in that hut in Africa.
Pretty wild stuff.
So, and I don't mean to be terribly insensitive about that.
Sure,
but
we're past that.
We are at a point to where it's like, well, this is what's going on in America, and like we're tired of it.
Yep.
We're done. We're done.
Reminder coming up at the top of the hour, live from America with Jeremy Harrell, the hip-hop patriot. He's going to be talking about beef, gas, ballroom, USPS, and more. I haven't seen the USPS. What's going on with that?
Postal Service? I do not know.
I know what it is, but I'm just wondering. I haven't heard the story.
I don't know.
Looking forward
to
it, Jeremy.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know what story.
Yeah, and we didn't touch on the ballroom either. That's
well, we
interesting.
did, but it was in a country music song. That was a ballroom that she was singing from.
She did make the concert venue a ballroom.
Man.
See?
Yeah.
Ballroom. Anyway.
Well, and technically a WNBA games sort of turned into a ballroom as well.
Yeah, a little bit. All right.
Moving on.
Taxpayer barbecue. For this edition of Taxpayer Barbecue, we have the news that Governor Gavin Newsom has, in fact, signed the Stop Nick Shirley Act into law. So it was put on his desk last week. There were some of us wondering, well, would he sign this?
Sure.
Yes. The answer is yes. Instead of exposing corruption, we now want to make it illegal to expose it. Like, we're going to stop people like Nick Shirley from showing up, showing how our taxpayer money is being totally wasted on issues that really, I don't have a problem with people caring about early childhood care. I don't have a problem with people caring about what to do when you're at the end of life and senior citizens and hospice and everything else. Obviously, those are issues that we should care about. Now, it's arguable of whether or not it should be the government's responsibility or how much of the taxpayer money should go. We can debate all that. We would prefer it to go, obviously, to legitimate purposes, including actual Americans and not illegals. But when you literally are allowing foreigners to set up shop and get money and not do anything and stay at home with their families all day and just make more babies, which is exactly what's going on, that is a problem, and that is just roasting taxpayer dollars over a barbecue pit. Eric Daughtery says journalists now can face fines and prison for exposing the fraud. This needs to go to court ASAP. Nick Shirley exposed it. Quote, very interesting connections with her husband being the attorney general. The husband of this Bonita gal that sponsored the legislation, her husband's the AG. So now he doesn't have to do anything about it.
That
You've made it
sounds
illegal.
just as corrupt as you could ever be.
It is.
Look at this sleaze bag.
It is as corrupt as you can ever be. I think this may be the clip we played on Thursday or Friday. Let's see if we can pipe this in.
Very interesting connections with her husband being the Attorney General of California. Their goal as a family should be to prosecute and take care and make sure that there is so little fraud in the state that they can have such a peaceful night of sleep. However, while the Attorney General is supposed to be prosecuting fraud, his wife is creating laws to let fraud continue. They're specifically saying that NGOs who receive money based off immigrant services don't have to disclose their money. And so we know that they use those services to commit fraud.
I mean, I know the federal government is pursuing this. I know J.D. Vance is doing some great things. By the way, J.D. Vance doing some great rallies over the weekend. We'll cover that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really good. We need more of J.D. Vance on the campaign trail. But, yeah, I mean, the at some point, when does the federal government come in and is just, makes these people stop? Puts these people in jail.
The only
in
thing
mass.
the only thing that you can do is just cut off funding, and because they're going to fight it at the state level, and they're going to talk about states' rights and all of that. It's just extremely frustrating that you have everyday Americans who are struggling to pay their bills. You have retired senior citizens that can't afford their prescription medication, and you have these Somalians and just committing massive fraud, hundreds of millions of dollars. Again, something I'm going to keep pounding in everyone's head. Elon Musk, looking at Doge, thinks that the yearly fraud is at least $1 trillion of fraud, and you think $1 trillion. That is insane. Mm-hmm. But he's like, it's everywhere. It's baked in there. But at least these ones where Nick Shirley was exposing them with the Quality Leering Center and all of that stuff, if that stuff can be exposed and stamped out, then it needs to be. But what does the stupid-ass state of California do? They make laws, pass laws, to make the investigators the criminals.
Right.
If you have ever wondered if California was bass-ackwards, there is your proof. Even further.
Yep.
Progress happens when the money stops. Look what happened when USAID was cut off. When's the last time you've seen one of the big riots happening? I mean, cut off their funding, cut off their money, and you'll have a lot of progress.
I want to remind everybody the Paul Harrell program is powered by the Healing Veterans Project. Scan the QR code on your screen to donate to help veterans get life-saving red light therapy, where we're talking about nerve pain, chronic pain, inflammation, sleep problems, traumatic brain injury. Photobiomodulation does incredible things for everybody, but we've got veterans on a list that have been prescribed this technology by a doctor, and yet they can't get it because the VA won't cover it. So that's where Healing Veterans Project comes in. Go to healingveteransproject.us, scan the QR code, donate $1, $5. And if you are a business, email me, paul@healingveteransproject.us. We would like to talk to you about how we can partner and allow your customers to donate to Healing Veterans Project at the point of sale. Gentlemen, it has been a fantastic Monday morning.
Great to start the Monday morning.
It really has.
Great
I hope
conversation.
everybody has enjoyed it. I know I have enjoyed it a lot. Want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, also Pet Club 24/7, Sherrod Chiropractic, and everybody out there watching in Live from America chat. We appreciate it. Do all the things, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Share the video, the live feed out today. We really appreciate it. We're going to hand it off to Jeremy Harrell and Live from America. God bless.